and clients of Walker Gates Vela. I am Jennifer Walker Gates, immigration attorney. And in this video, I am going to be talking about the question of whether or not a person who has a U visa is able to travel outside the United States. People with U visas can travel inside the United States, no problem. But a lot of people who get a U visa after waiting for many years haven't seen family in their home country in a really long time and want to be able to travel home or travel outside the United States to be able to visit people. And unfortunately, this is one of those situations where the immigration law can seem very unfair and very difficult to understand. Just the unfairness of it itself is very hard to wrap your head around. But it's really important to understand the risks and benefits of traveling if you have a U visa. Before I get into the substance, please take a moment and hit subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are publishing videos at least once a week for the immigrant community in Central Texas, as well as around the United States, because we want to make sure that every deserving immigrant in the United States has access to the information that you need to navigate the system, to be able to get security and opportunity that come with having legal status in the United States. We are grateful for the immigrant community. We want you to be safe and secure and to have all of the benefits that you deserve and have earned by contributing to our country. So thank you for choosing the United States again as your home, and hit subscribe. And with that, let's get into today's topic. So I have a slideshow prepared that I'm going to just quickly go through to let you know if you can travel if you have a U visa. And I will be discussing when, why, and how certain U visa recipients can travel and certain ones cannot travel internationally. Now, before we talk about that much, it's important to understand exactly what is the U visa, right? The U visa, what we often call a U visa, is granted to people most of the time within the United States. If it is granted to someone outside the United States, then they get a visa in their passport. But most people get what's called a non-immigrant status in the United States, meaning it's a temporary legal status, and they just get a piece of paper from USCIS that says U visa, and you may see on there a category that is a U1 status if you are the principal applicant for the U visa. U2 status is if you're the spouse of the principal applicant, or U3 is if you are the child of the principal applicant. U4 also is issued sometimes to parents or siblings of the principal U visa holder, and if the principal is a child. So there are different, whether you're U1, 2, 3, 4, or whatever, the U status that you get isn't actually technically a visa unless you already have it placed in your passport. So we're calling a U visa a lot of times something that isn't actually the visa. The visa goes in the passport, and you can't get that unless you're at a consulate outside the United States. So people who are in the United States get what's called a U non-immigrant status, and that comes with protection from deportation and a work permit. Now, under the law, only 10,000 U visas per year may be issued for U1 visas, and those are for people who are the principal applicants. So all of their family members who are included and are granted the U2, U3, U4, etc., those people are not counted against that 10,000 number. However, nonetheless, there is a current backlog of about 150,000 of these petitions. So as you can see, people who are filing U petitions may be waiting many, many years till their U non-immigrant status is actually approved. Now, the benefits of the U visa include that you get the work permit for up to 4 years. You can petition for spouses, minor children, parents, siblings under age 18 in certain cases. Even if your children or family members are outside the United States, you can submit petitions for them. You can also get waivers granted with your U non-immigrant status. You can get approved for waivers for things like permanent bars, for having multiple unlawful entries. You can get a waiver for having a prior deportation and coming back without permission. You can get a waiver for false claims to US citizenship. Other things like this that are often not able to be waived in other types of cases can be waived with the U visa. The other major benefit of the U visa is that after you have it for 3 years, if you don't have like a serious criminal issue and you meet the other requirements, which includes physical presence inside the United States, then you can apply for your residency. That means you get a green card and you're on the road to citizenship. You also don't have to leave the United States to get your residency if you have a U visa. So having that U visa and being able to apply for residency is a major benefit of the U visa. But what about travel? If you have a U visa, can you travel outside the United States? And the answer, of course, is sometimes. It depends. That's the lawyer's answer for everything, right? Now, we're not talking about people who have the bona fide determination or the work permit that comes with the wait list for the U status. People who have the bona fide determination or that waitlist status can get a work permit, but often they cannot get a travel permit. We will address this category of people in a different video and their travel issues we can talk about in a totally different video. Right now, we are talking about people who have already been approved for the U non-immigrant status and who already have that approval for the 4-year status from USCIS. Now, if a person with a U non-immigrant status travels outside the United States and they don't have the visa in their passport, they have what we call the U visa because they have the paper, they must visit a consulate to get that U visa placed in their passport before they can return to the United States. And again, travel within the United States is always perfectly fine if you have a U visa, so you can travel within the US borders, even to Hawaii, even to Puerto Rico and US territories like Guam and the Northern Mariana Islands and the US Virgin Islands. Those territories that belong to the United States are fine to travel to. Those are not international travel technically, but international travel requires a visit to a consulate in order to get the visa placed in your passport before you can return. Now, when you go to the to the consulate, when you leave the United States and you go to the consulate, you have to take your passport. You also have to take your original U non-immigrant status approval notice. You also have to take any waiver approval notice that you might have. If you filed a waiver when you applied for your U visa because you had an unlawful entry or 2 unlawful entries or false claims or fraud or criminal issues or all kinds of other kind of, maybe minor, but still problematic issues in your immigration history, you have to take the approval notice and you have to take that waiver application so that you can be able to show them and prove to them exactly what you got a waiver for when you got that waiver approved. And it is important to take that application. They should be able to see it in their system, but just in case, if our clients travel outside the United States with their U documents, we always make sure to send a copy of the application so that it's clear to the consular officer exactly what was approved for the waiver. Now, if you have gotten a waiver of everything that could be wrong in your record, you should be approved for that visa to be placed in your passport and you should be able to come back. However, if you get to the consulate, they're going to make another determination about your admissibility to the United States, your eligibility to return. And if they find that you have triggered a new inadmissibility when you departed the United States, they're going to make you file another waiver before you can come back. Now, this is especially problematic for the 3-year and 10-year bars. A lot of people who have come to the United States one time without permission are at risk of being found to have triggered a 10-year bar when they leave. Because unlike those people who come and go and come and go and come and go multiple times, they haven't triggered those bars by leaving the United States. They just came that one time unlawfully. They should be able to get a waiver for that, but unfortunately you can't get it before it's triggered. So if you leave the United States, you will trigger that inadmissibility of a 10-year bar that you have to ask for a waiver for in order to come back. I know this is complicated and hard to understand, but this is the problem with a lot of individuals who apply for the waivers and want to travel with their U visas. they entered one time unlawfully, or maybe they overstayed for a long period of time and they had to wait many years for that visa. So they have accrued the unlawful presence that will cause a bar to be triggered when they leave the United States. And you can't come back until another waiver is approved. So the problem with that is that in order to apply for your residency as a U visa holder, after you've had the U visa for 3 years, you have to prove that you haven't been outside the United States for longer than 6 months during that 3 year period. And if you have exceeded the 6 month allotment of time by being outside the United States longer than that, while waiting for a waiver or any other reason, you won't be eligible for your residency. And this is a big problem for a lot of people that don't have another way to get residency. And so this is why it can be very, very risky to travel with your U visa. Now, ironically, the people who have the best chance of being able to travel successfully with their U visa are people who had the multiple unlawful entries before they applied for the U visa, because they've already triggered all the bars that they're going to trigger by traveling in and out and in and out and in and out, even just twice. And so they're able to get that waive before they travel. They're able to go to the consulate and say, I did have all of this stuff in my record, but it's all been cleaned up now. And I don't need another waiver. I can just get that U visa in my passport. People who have only had the one unlawful entry, when they go to the consulate, they're going to say, look, you have a new problem now since you left the United States. It is unfair. It is frustrating. It is complicated. It can be difficult to understand. But that is the deal with U visas and travel. So if you need help understanding how to plan your travel, if you are hoping to travel, if you need help understanding how to get your consular appointment when you go outside the United States, if you need help understanding whether you're eligible to do that, please contact us. We'll be happy to consult with you and help you understand your eligibility to travel, the risks and benefits for you, and whether it makes sense for you to try it or not. Our website is walkergatesvilla.com. You can find us there. You can find our phone number. You can find a link to click and get scheduled directly on our calendar. And we will be happy to analyze your case, help you understand what you should or should not do with respect to travel, or anything else that you may need help with in your immigration. I hope this has been helpful. I hope it's not too complicated. I hope everyone has a great week. Please reach out to us if we can be helpful, and stay safe and well in the meantime. We'll see you next week. Bye.